There is a type of person who seems to have an internal engine running at full speed, even when the world around them calls for a break. Have you ever noticed how some people just can't sit still? While most people enjoy a lazy Sunday or a leisurely afternoon, they seem bothered by the stillness, as if silence were an enemy to be defeated. But is this just agitation? Or is there something deeper behind this constant need for movement? First of all, it's important to say, there's nothing wrong with being like this. Not everyone is made for slowness. Some are born with an energy that seems inexhaustible, and this can be a gift in many aspects of life. But when this inability to stop becomes a pattern, an almost physical urge, it's worth looking beyond the surface. Because, often, what seems like just restlessness hides a story that the body has not forgotten. Perhaps, in childhood, they learned that stopping was dangerous. In homes where silence was synonymous with tension, where stillness preceded fights or punishments, the brain learned, if I move, I protect myself. Or, in environments where productivity was the only currency of value, standing still became synonymous with failure. The body internalized, if I'm not doing it, I'm not worth it. And so, movement became a shield, a way to keep the world and emotions at a safe distance. These people tend to multitask out of necessity, not choice. They fill every minute with activity, as if emptiness were a threat. To-do lists are your best friend, not because they love organization, but because the structure prevents them from facing what really scares them. What happens when everything stops? It's as if, when they slow down, they have to face thoughts, memories, or feelings that they decided to ignore a long time ago. But there is also a beauty to this fast pace. These people are often the ones who achieve the most, the ones who turn ideas into action with a speed that leaves others awestruck. They have a unique ability to see opportunities where others see obstacles, because their mind is always one step ahead. For them, life is not something to be observed from afar, it is something to be lived with their hands, feet, and heart. However, when this energy becomes compulsive, it can be a sign that the body is shouting what the mouth isn't saying. The inability to stop may be the manifestation of unresolved anxiety, a fear of not being enough, or even a loneliness that is only silenced by the noise of one's own movement. It's as if, by being still, the internal world becomes so loud that it becomes unbearable. If you recognize yourself in this portrait, no, you are not just an agitated person. You are someone who has learned, in some way, that movement is survival. But you're also someone who deserves to discover that peace isn't a threat, it's a place where you can finally find yourself. Perhaps the biggest challenge is not moving less, but learning to be with yourself without having to run. What if today you allowed yourself, just for a few minutes, to do nothing? Not to be more productive later, not to recharge, but simply to exist. Because, deep down, life is not just about what we do. It's also about what we allow ourselves to feel. If this resonated with you, comment here, what happens when you try to stop? If you know someone like this, share, they may need to hear that they are not alone. And if you want more reflections like this, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next texts. Until next time, and remember, sometimes the greatest revolution is simply staying. The loneliness that only movement soothes, Part 2, what happens when we stop running? Have you ever noticed how sometimes your body keeps moving even when your mind screams stop? It's like and there was an internal engine that, once turned on, only turns off when the tank is empty or when something, or someone, forces the key. But what if I told you that this engine is not a defect, but a map? A map of fears that you learned to carry without even knowing their weight. Think about the last time you actually stopped. Not that strategic pause between one task and another, but that moment when you left your body still and your mind aimless. What happened? A tingling in your fingers? A wave of anxiety rising in your throat? Or that traitorous thought, I should be doing something right now? This is no coincidence. It's your nervous system, trained to associate stillness with danger, confusing peace with abandonment. The stopping paradox. Why does being quiet hurt so much? Science has a name for this: neural network default mode hyperactivity. In human terms, it means that, when we stop, the brain turns on all the lights in the rooms that we lock on a daily basis. That unresolved argument with his father. The shame of a mistake at work 5 years ago. The feeling that if we are not busy, someone will notice that we are not enough. But here's the secret no one told you: those lights are not the enemy. They are signs. Like muscle pain after a new workout, uncomfortable, but proof that something is changing. The problem is not stillness. The problem is that no one taught us to listen to what she has to say. 3 things that happen when you, finally, stop. 1. The first minute, the body rebels. Your breathing becomes shallow. The muscles, tense. It's as if the body says, "What now? What do I do without running?" Tip: don't fight it. Let the discomfort exist. He is just the gateway. 2. The next 5 minutes, the mind becomes a stage of memories. Suddenly, you remember that time you promised yourself that one day you would rest, and you never fulfilled it. Key question: what is this memory trying to protect you from feeling? Spoiler: it's usually guilt or fear of not being loved for who you are, not what you do. 3. After 10 minutes, the truth comes out. Not as a ray of light, but as a whisper: I don't need to prove anything. This is the magic moment. Here, stillness stops being a threat and becomes a mirror. And what you see in it may surprise you. The productivity myth, or why you're not a machine. We live in a culture that confuses value with speed. How many times have you heard, or said, "I don't have time to stop. If I don't do it, no one will." Rest is for those who have already arrived. But here's the question that will hurt: what if getting there is precisely learning to stay? What if the greatest productivity of your life is not a list of completed tasks, but the ability to be present with yourself, with others, with the world? Radical experiment, for the brave. For the next 7 days, stop for 3 minutes a day. Not to meditate, not to breathe correctly. Just to exist. Day 1. Observe what happens in your body. Day 3. Notice what thoughts arise, without judging. Day 7. Ask yourself, what have I been avoiding feeling? Yes, 3 minutes. It's not a little. It's the exact time your brain needs to start suspecting that maybe stopping isn't the end of the world. The big lie people tell to themselves: when I reach goal X, then I'll be able to rest. Spoiler: you'll never achieve it. Because the goal always moves. Neglect is not a reward for effort, it is a trap. One that we build ourselves, brick by brick, each time we postpone the right to simply be. The inconvenient truth: you are already worthy of peace. Now. Not after the promotion, the perfect relationship, the full bank account. Here. This very second you are reading this. What if the loneliness you escape is, actually, an invitation? Think about the last time he really felt alone. Not physical loneliness, but that feeling that, no matter how many people were around, no one really saw you. What did you do? Did you turn on the TV? Did you open social media? Did you start cleaning the house at 3 a.m.? Now, imagine doing the opposite, sitting with this loneliness, as if you were an unexpected visitor. Ask her, what did you come to teach me? What am I so afraid of that I can't keep still? The loneliness that hurts is when we don't look ourselves in the eye. But when we stop, for real, it transforms. From an enemy, she becomes an ally. From a void, it becomes a space for you to find yourself. What nobody tells you about being quiet. 1. You will cry. Not out of sadness, but out of relief. Because, for the first time in years, someone is finally listening to you, and that someone is you. 2. You will feel selfish. Because we were taught that taking care of ourselves is stealing time from others. But here's the truth: you can't give what you don't have. And if you are empty, what are you offering the world? 3. You'll want to give up. In the first few days, the stillness feels like a desert. But every desert has an oasis. And yours is on the other side of this fear of stopping. An invitation, not a requirement. I'm not going to tell you to meditate for an hour a day or abandon all your obligations. That would be just another form of racing now, after enlightenment. Instead, I invite you to a simple agreement. Today, when you feel the urge to move for no reason, stop for 30 seconds. Tomorrow, do the same, but this time observe what happens in your chest. Next week, allow yourself to do nothing for 2 minutes, not even think. Just exist. It's not about stopping moving. It's about learning that you can move and stop. That you are as valid in action as you are in rest. For those who need to hear this today, if you're reading this far, it's because some part of you knows you need this reminder. Maybe you are one of those who, you fall asleep planning the next day, and wake up feeling like you're already late. Feels guilty when he is not producing, even on weekends. Uses tiredness as a shield, I can't stop, otherwise everything will fall apart. You are not a machine. You are a human being. And human beings were not made to function at maximum speed, 24 hours a day. They were made to feel, to make mistakes, to rest, to exist without justification. And now, if this text resonated with you, do one thing for me. 1. Comment below, what happens when you try to quit? Don't edit. Don't filter. Just write. 2. Share with someone who needs to hear that they are not alone in this never-ending race. 3. Save this text and read it again in a week. See if anything has changed. And if you want more reflections like this, no magic formulas, no empty self-help, just truths that hurt and heal at the same time, turn on notifications. Because we're going to continue this conversation. Until you allow yourself to stop. And remember, sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is, do nothing. Yellowheart. What if stopping was the only way to get far? Have you ever noticed how society glorifies burnout like it's a badge of honor? I worked until 3 a.m., I haven't taken a vacation in 2 years, I survived on 4 hours of sleep, phrases said with pride, as if the body were a war machine and not an organism that bleeds, cries and asks for help in silence. But here's the truth no one tells you. Productivity is not a trophy. It's a tool. And tools, when used without rest, break. The myth of the endless race, and why you're not an Energizer rabbit. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, if I stop, everything will fall apart, as if the world revolves around your ability to function exhausted? Rest is for the weak, spoiler, it's not. It's for the intelligent. One day I will rest, when everything is perfect, newsflash, nothing will ever be perfect. Here's the dirty secret. Capitalism sells you the idea that you are replaceable. That if you don't run, someone faster, and more willing to destroy yourself, will take your place. But you are not a cog. You are an ecosystem. And ecosystems need breaks to regenerate. What happens when you, finally, stop? 1. Your brain does some cleaning. That mental fog that makes you forget where you put your keys. It's a lack of rest. Rest cleanses the toxins accumulated in the brain. Yes, this is science. The glymphatic system only works properly when you sleep or relax. 2. Your creativity can breathe again. Have you ever heard of the incubation effect? It's when you give up on forcing a solution and, out of nowhere, the answer appears in the shower, in traffic, in the middle of a dream. Einstein, Newton, and Kafka had something in common, moments of leisure where their greatest ideas were born. 3. Your body stops screaming and starts whispering. Chronic headache? Stress sign. Insomnia? Stress sign. Heartburn, hair loss, brittle nails? All signs that your body is in survival mode. When you stop, it comes out of fight or flight mode and goes back to functioning as it should, healing, not just resisting. 4. You rediscover who you are outside of doing. Who are you when you are not producing, performing, or proving something to someone? This question is scary because society has taught you that your value lies in what you do, not who you are. But the truth? You exist beyond your role. The paradox: stopping is the most productive thing you can do. It seems contradictory, but resting increases your productivity by 40%. Harvard Business Review studies don't lie. Sleeping 7 to 8 hours improves memory and decision-making. Sleep is the forgotten superpower. Taking a vacation reduces the risk of heart attack by 30%. Yes, your heart thanks you when you stop. But then why is it so difficult to stop? Because stopping is an act of rebellion. In a world that tells you to run, consume, compete, staying still is revolutionary. How to quit without feeling guilty. A guide for rest rebels. 1. Start small, but start. It's not about taking a month off, yet. It's about 5 guilt-free minutes. Try. Close your eyes and breathe deeply for 1 minute. No justification. Have a coffee without touching your cell phone. Walk to the window and look at the sky for 30 seconds. No rush. 2. Swap I should for I choose. I should work late, I choose to rest so I can do more tomorrow. I should answer that email now, I choose to prioritize my energy. Changing the language changes the mentality. 3. Create a stopping ritual. Your brain needs clear signals that it's time to rest. Could it be a cup of tea at 6 p.m., sign the working day is over? An ambient sound, rain, sea waves, that plays when you go to relax. A phrase you repeat, I deserve to stop. 4. Turn off notifications, yes, all of them. The brain takes 23 minutes to concentrate after an interruption, study from the University of California. If you really want to rest, the world can wait 1 hour. 5. Make a not to-do list. Write down everything you won't do today. I won't check emails after 7 p.m. I won't feel guilty about saying no. I'm not going to compare my rest with other people's productivity. Rest is also an achievement. What if you still think you can't stop? I challenge you. Try stopping for 1 day. Not as a luxury, but as a scientific experiment. Write down how you felt before: tired, anxious, overwhelmed. Stop. In truth. No just that, no quickies. Write down how you feel afterwards: light, guilty, relieved. Spoiler, the guilt will come. But it passes. And what remains is the discovery that the world did not collapse. That you is not indispensable, and that is liberating. The question that will change everything. If you died tomorrow, what would really matter? Emails answered. Over time. Or the moments when you were present for yourself and for those you love. The legacy you leave is not measured in tasks completed, but in how you lived. Now, do this for me, and you. 1. Choose one day this week to stop. It doesn't have to be radical. It can be 1 hour without guilt. Comment below, I'll stop by, day, at, time. This increases your commitment. 2. Turn off one device for 24 hours. Cell phone, laptop, TV. Share in stories, I'm in airplane mode. The world can wait. And mark who needs this permission. 3. Write down 3 things you do out of obligation, and not for pleasure. Ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped doing one of these? Hint, probably nothing serious. 4. Save this text and reread it in 1 month. See if anything has changed. Or if you're still running from the same illusion. A final reminder, for when guilt kicks. You are not lazy for wanting to rest. You are not weak for needing to stop. You are not selfish for prioritizing your health. You are human. And humans were not made to function like machines. They were made to live. Sometimes living is simply existing without rushing. Until next time. And this time, we hope you get here after a good rest, Herb. P.S. If this text touched you, save it as a reminder for the days when guilt appears. Because the voice that says you should be doing more is a lie the system has taught you to believe. The truth. You are already enough. Yellowheart.